Chat, I have been avoiding this. I didn't want to watch this. I didn't want to watch John Doyle versus Hunter. I already know what this is going to be, and I haven't watched this. I have heard it in the background of my home. Slightly. Like maybe 3 minutes of it. But I already know what this is going to be. John Doyle is going to be a weasel. Hunter's going to try to nail him to some sort of thing. It's not going to work. And they're both going to annoy me to some extent because of the vibe that they both give off. I love what Hunter has done. A preemptive, preemptive. Don't get me wrong. I'm 100% Team Hunter here. But and I think Hunter would say this about me. I don't think we fuck with each other that much. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So we're gonna watch this. This is John Doyle's gonna be trash here, and I'm sure Hunter does a fantastic job. He's good at this, but like, he's also good at like having sources ready and trying to nail people down and that kind of stuff. So he's gonna be, I assume, a very good debater in this. I like Hunter in a debate. Me and Hunter's guys, I don't know. I think he finds me too fucking relaxed. Young Black Economist, thanks so much for the 6 months. Team anyone but Doyle. Really? Honestly, I can't think of many people I choose over John Doyle. Or I choose John Doyle over, rather. There's really not many people I'm like, fine, I'll choose John Doyle in this fight. Yeah. So I expect Hunter to do quite well. John is easy. I've talked to John before. He blocked me after. Not surprising. Then he got banned. But like, no, JLP? No. I'd choose Jesse Lee Peterson is at least funny. That's the best thing I can say about Jesse Lee Peterson. John Doyle isn't even funny. Doyle's a master debater, too. Dude, this guy's a fucking twerp.
It's not just that. Again, it's that by having diversity, you avoid this idea of groupthink.
Okay. I don't want to get any previews. Is that his thing? All right. Strike one. All right, it's cool. Okay, I don't want to talk too much shit. I'm being an asshole. I don't mean to. Maybe he thinks I'm cringe. That's probably fine. Corn cringe. Whatever. This is like... This gives me Tribal Tat vibes. I didn't know this was what he had going on. Anyway.
Okay.
Some Tribal Tats are cool. Maybe Hunter can pull one off.
I don't know if we're going to get anywhere with that. I did want to bring in another guest, Olivia.
Doyle or Crowder? Crowder.
You want to go ahead and put them both on?
Well, wait. Who are you ambushing me with? Because we're not even done with our discussion yet. Andrew. Hey, John. What's up?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Why didn't he did the... On your bingo boards, you can click Jake Cringes. Jake Cringes. John Doyle... He'll say that this is a meme, but I genuinely believe that John Doyle thought to himself, what would be a cool introduction? Remember The Dark Knight before the SJWs took over Hollywood? Like, Jesus Christ. You want to see a magic trick? Is he going to say some cringe like that too? Good God.
We
John
are
Doyle.
Entertainment, here to discuss diversity, here to discuss the military.
Nice.
Hunter, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. We took so long to get this set up. I'm happy to see you, John. How you doing, man?
It is true. I'm doing pretty well. You know, I don't want to stand on ceremony with this sort of performative fraternity, Hunter. You know, you had some very abrasive things to say about me in your video, which admittedly I didn't watch. Admittedly, I also didn't rewatch my video in preparation for this.
You know how he always tries to portray himself as one of the guys? This motherfucker just said swaglessly, I don't want to give airs about performative fraternity. Bro, I don't think with years of practice John Doyle could properly dap somebody up. Like, what the fuck? This guy gives off no fellow brother vibes. What? I just don't understand the type of people these guys, like John Doyle types are. I don't get it. They are not my people. I don't understand them. Like, what? He's so fucking... Remember when people used to call them squares? I think John Doyle, this is why he's in this, he's literally in a square. It's the only time that that's not like a weird old-timey insult. John Doyle, you square. No, it didn't work still.
Because, of course, I wanted to give you the biggest advantage possible. So you're going to have to refresh me a little bit on your critiques as we go along here. But, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, the main critique that I had was just you seem to be very much against this idea of diversity in the military. And
floppy ears, goodness gracious, chat.
And that's just not true. Like, I thought that was quite delusional, to be honest, because virtually every single study we have, whether it's of a private business or of the military directly, we can see that diversity contributes to a significant amount of innovation.
I can't believe that John Doyle or anyone would take the opposite position to this. It's just so hard to defend. You have to be a mega racist, and you have to assume the people that agree with you are mega racist. Like, it only makes sense if you're fucking crazy racist. It's just some of the shit that I have heard that John Doyle says in this may still shock you, just because it's so stupid. Not as like a matter of like, oh my goodness, I can't believe he said it. You'd be like, John Doyle, are you really gonna try to do that with your brain? Like you okay? Like this is the choice you're gonna make?
Right. So for those watching, people of Hunter's kin like to do this thing with studies where they basically use them like Pokemon cards. So Hunter is going to take his studies and he's going to say, look at this study, it says this thing, blam. And it's like his argument is the title of the study. You know, he doesn't believe that people, like as we saw with what Andrew was saying.
He did a similar thing in our trans debate where he didn't like studies being brought up.
Can experience things, can infer data, can use their inductive reasoning, things like that. So that's why, you know, it's always studies and data. So, you know, people like Hunter also, it's not a coincidence that they're so obsessed with things like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Like they conceptualize diversity.
Hold on, wait.
What is this straw man shit? Like this is the kind of shit he does. He's just going to start to rattle off a bunch of bullshit, do like a kind of a shitty Gish Gallop. It might even get called a Gish Gallop here. It is one, but it's like, you know, usually when Gish back in the OG days of atheist debate YouTube, okay? It usually was a much better. The Gish Gallop is called a thing because it actually works. Ray Comfort does this in his Man on the Street videos. Ray Comfort does the Gish Gallop where he'll be like, "Are you a sinner? Are you a loser? Are you do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? Do you believe in it?" And usually it's like, here's an unreasonable thing, and they get progressively more reasonable to the point where at the end you're like sort of saying like, yeah, but it kind of means that you said yeah to the whole bunch or no to the whole bunch or something similar, or you know, and it's obviously to obfuscate aspects of the argument, but this is just like a shit. Habitual Dodo, thanks so much for the 16 minutes.
Not you. Is this actually your argument right now? Is the idea of shitting on data and factual information because you think that feelings outweigh facts?
Exactly. This is why Hunter's good at this stuff. I like that stuff. He's also baby smooth. Does he have a subscription to Dollar Shave Club or like a sponsorship thing going on? Goodness gracious, is he soft looking?
Is that it? I never said. Hold on.
No, if you would listen to my argument, I know this isn't one of your reaction streams where you're going to pause what I'm saying and have your little clip.
Well, this isn't one of your videos where you.
Oh, that means he's mad at the reaction streams. John, we got him. We got him. John hates it when you react to him. He hates the pauses. That's why he makes 2-hour-long videos, so that we'll do it less. All right. I skipped the last one. I'm not skipping the next John Doyle video, I guess. Just because I know it makes him mad. Because that was just like a side remark. That's just him and his emotions right there. You got caught out.
That where you can just make up a bunch of lies about what
he pretends that he likes the attention. He hates it.
Let's just go one at a time. Let me just
finish my opening monologue here. My point was going to be that people of Hunter's coalition, maybe not him necessarily, since we want to get specific here, they can only conceptualize diversity like a team of superheroes, right? Or like the what was that Pixar movie, Inside Out, where you've got like this guy with this strength, and then this guy is really good at this thing, and they all come together, and then they beat the bad guy. That's not actually how it works. And you know what it comes down to, basically in brass tacks, is that anything
Inside Out was an allegory for your emotions and how they work together to create the person you are. It wasn't like a communism allegory. What the fuck? It means that multiple portions of your personality are valid, and there's different ways to deal with them, and don't let one overweigh the other. Like, don't let anger get the best of you, but don't just hide anger away. You get to be angry about stuff. That's kind of what the point of the movie was. I cannot believe that I expected better of John, but I did.
The military is doing besides focusing on destroying enemies and their resources and securing our...
Yeah. If you guys need to cope at any point, just put that butt. Just get that butt going. Put that jiggle in chat, and you'll be fine. Squeeze it like a little stress ball.
Borders is by definition operating at a less efficient way than it should be. And so the whole idea behind diverse identities, as Hunter articulated, is this idea that like, oh, well, you know, if you've got the white guy, he's going to have this way of looking at it. If you have the black guy, he's going to have this way of looking at it. And when they all come together, you know, they can sort of figure out the best way possible because you have all these different perspectives. And it sounds nice, but when you really...
Okay, so... well,
like, think about what that means. I mean, you're telling me that, like, oh, we have more diversity because now we have gay people. Like, what defines gay people other than a fixation on anal sex?
Why does John think gay people are fixated on anal sex? That's fascinating to me. We don't need that right now. It's just, what a wild fucking thing, man. I don't know, bro. As far as the rest of John Doyle's, like, what's the strength of diversity thing here? The idea is not that, like, I don't know. I think John is pretending that the argument is like, or maybe the mechanism of like having a military with many points of view and perspectives and representatives of different communities. I think he thinks it's like we are arguing it's more efficient or something. And I don't know that it is more efficient. I don't really care that it's more efficient because efficiency is not really the plan here. The point is, to me at least, is that we want people to have the freedom to seek employment in the military. Like, and not only that, just besides like basic, like, I don't even care how it shakes out. Yeah, just if you're a person and you want to join the military, I disagree, but go for it. I don't really care. I'm not really like a big aspect of it. But like I think also just in the way that like lefties think about governance, and or I guess how society shakes out, whether you want to call that governance or self-governance or whatever. I think it has a lot to do with like, if we have a roughly proportional representation spread throughout as many facets of like society in general, like whether it's the military or business or education or workplace or communities in general, whatever it is, we as people benefit from, like, socially we benefit from experiencing one another for many reasons. Chief among them is that it tends to make people not be so shitty to one another. And I don't mean just racism. That's like the tip of the iceberg when we really talk about it. And I'm sure they'll go into a broader conversation here that will be super cringe. But I guess I just think fundamentally it's just important that, like, it's not just about racism. It's about, like, all of it. It's about the little prejudices. It's about not just the prejudices. It's about the good stuff. Like, stuff that I wouldn't learn or they wouldn't learn because we come from different places. We have different experiences. I just think it's a good thing, just as a person that wants to exist on the world. I feel like getting to know one another is generally a well-known good thing as part of the human experience. I don't think I really have to defend that as much, so I'm not going to. Maybe I should. I guess I don't really think knowing each other is a bad thing.
So you're like arguing to me literally that
And also there's
but
studies.
that's what it is. It's a fixation on anal sex.
Okay.
Hunter, you gotta stop. You gotta
How
stop.
long is your opening monologue going to be, dude? This isn't one of your videos where you just get to just go on a tangent.
I know the big
finish
idea
up so we can
scared
talk.
the tiny mind.
I know.
Anyways,
yes, your feelings. They're very scary. Please finish up so we can start talking.
It's not 2016. See, this is your problem, Hunter. You never quite left 2016.
And
but we
back
continue.
To you just telling me a story. Okay.
What we're trying to do here,
I know
literally
that
really
I'm
is
not on your side, but like, are you ever going to let me respond? Hey, Andrew, are you ever going to let me respond?
I know. See, this was the problem. I wanted to set up a debate between you guys. Hunter refused, and then he
I did not refuse. I said that I wanted a. Hold on, wait.
No,
Stop.
you said
I don't care if I got to go against
him.
both of you guys, but I will say I said that I wanted a non-biased moderator, and it's already.
And have I said no? How have I said anything? I haven't said anything. I haven't said anything. No.
If I could just comment on the structure of the.
It's for the record, Hunter. It would be incredibly hard to get someone not biased in regards to how they feel about Hunter or John Doyle. There's not much of like a fence to sit there. And like, there's not a centrist that is like, John has points, but so does Hunter. I think it's, although I think Hunter would say like, that's not what I mean. I mean someone that can at least act unbiased. Yeah, I agree. Sure. I would try, but John Doyle is just so fucking stupid.
The debate, typically the way these actual
I don't like moderators, for the record. I think moderators are stupid in debates, for the record.
debates, as opposed to, internet blood sports go, is, one side will speak for 5-10 minutes, the other side will speak for 5-10 minutes. There's questions, etc. That's kind of the impression under which I was operating. So I'd like to be able to speak for a few minutes uninterrupted.
I just wanted to interject with the fact that I haven't said anything, and he's saying there's a debate on a moderator on your side, and this is why he refused to come on. But I'm perfectly able to sit here, as I've shown, and not say anything and let you guys talk. So let's go back to both of them.
Right now.
Because you just made a claim that I'm.
Can I respond to anything that John said, or is he literally going to sit?
Yeah, you will have ample time. You just got to be patient.
Wait. Are we going to do a 5-minute thing? Because I'm not doing that.
That'd be great. Can you speak for 5 minutes extemporaneously? Are you afraid of that?
No, it's not that I'm afraid of it. It's that a real debate is you say something, then I ask a question, then we kind of build upon that and have more of a conversation, not just you get to rant in your camera for 5 minutes.
I didn't even go to college, Hunter. I know the collegiate level debate. There's the
collegiate level debate. What? Why? Why is this? Why is this always how it devolves? I know the answer to this question. John's a fucking coward. Why would you come on here? John Doyle, why would you come on here to do the ambush thing with Hunter and then not do it? Just do the thing then, bro. God, they're such fucking pussies, man. I can't help but get toxic. I get in my toxic masculinity shit again. Every time someone like John Doyle comes up, I'm just like, I'm gonna push him into a locker, dude. Like, he's just such a fucking baby.
The first affirmative, there's the first rebuttal. I mean, it goes in blocks. So I'm going to continue with what I was trying to say here. Well, it is. I would like to think that we can operate at that level.
You surprised him. What do you mean? I think we could operate at this level. You showed up. What do you mean you showed up? Now we're professional. After I arrive is when it becomes professional. Not in the lead up.
I have a great amount of respect for you.
I can't believe that your version of a debate, you're so scared to actually just talk back and forth. Are you afraid of my soy face?
You're not letting me talk. My brother in Christ. You got to stop. I'm going to just continue.
My brother in Christ. Anyway, you won't shut the fuck up.
The idea, you're so tough, dude. Like,
I never agreed to this. You're literally just ambushing me and then saying, oh, it's a formal debate now, so you have to be quiet for 5 minutes. Let's actually talk about it. Why do you think that diversity does not benefit the military? What's your evidence of this?
See, I was going to continue. Anyways, the idea that diversity does inherently benefit the military, like in that video in particular, I think I was mainly talking about diversity in terms of sex and in terms of sexuality. So like literally, if you're going to argue that diversity in terms of sexuality benefits the military, what you're saying is that people whose identities center around anal sex and genital mutilation.
Wait, who's the genital mutilation people? Oh, trans people? Wait. But that's not, okay, that's not sex or sexuality. But, and gay people, does he know gay guys suck dick? Like, like two cis gay fellas might not necessarily be into butt stuff and could just suck dick.
Maybe.
Like these, I don't know why we have to devolve into just pretending. I mean, pretending John Doyle, I believe, knows intimately about the desires of a gay man. Dante Red, thanks for the 13 months. Not to flag it, but I'm flagging it. I just don't think like we need to speculate on how people's sex lives go, because if they want to fuck butts, they get to, man. I don't. There's a lot of people that don't. Right? I mean, it's irrelevant. It's so irrelevant. But even if you're like, okay, we can't get away from it. I mean, just factually, it's like, okay, but not all of them. So it's like, whatever. It's just so weird to be hung up on it. They have so many sexual hangups, bro.
Have something to offer to the military. Like, they could read something written by von Clausewitz or something written by Sun Tzu, and they could actually amend that text and have a better idea of how to conquer enemies and defend borders than these people. And this kind of gets into the other thing. Well, even if not in terms of strategic...
He's referring to Sun Tzu right now? Okay. All right. I didn't want to break this to you guys, but I have several autistic friends, and they're wonderful, okay? And each of them has their own special thing, okay? One of them is a doctor, super smart, and he also really likes Gundam. Another one is, again, very successful. He does things for ads, and he also has a fixation, which is knowing everything about, like, birds or some shit. Literally all of it. Or like, Norse mythology. Loves that shit. And I have another one, very successful, Ivy League school person, is going into finance. He's a lefty. Don't worry about it. But also obsessed with military history. And I've got to say, I know so much dumb shit about military strategy because of my friend who is wonderful, who is just obsessed with this shit. He's all over the Ukraine-Russia thing. You guys, I could tell you shit about Ukraine-Russia that I don't even understand, but I could just regurgitate it to you because of the military historian I have talking, which, by the way, the other two of those people are in that chat. Like, let's be real. They're also in there. And it swirls sometimes, and the rest of us just sit there and sort of watch something. We used to make fun of them, but now it's just like a wonder. We're just like, you know what? Just go for it, boys. You know? Yeah. Hyper fixated on it. Anyway, I have it on decent authority that I don't think we refer to those in any sort of modern sense, other than like sort of a, you know, an introduction to the history of war as we move through. Like, this is what people were thinking back in the day. You know what I mean?
Strategic innovation in terms of technological.
Yeah, they enjoy it a lot.
Innovation, you know, they have something to offer there, because he mentioned as well, on the battlefield, only 10% of people are going to see combat, right? Now, in my opinion, that's more of an argument against the fact that the military has basically become a jobs program, less against the fact that, you know, it's not actually going to have a lot of people on the battlefield. But you've got the innovation, at least, if not the combat aspect. The thing with that, though,
is it bad that we don't have most of the people in the military seeing combat? Is that a bad thing? Isn't that the goal of the military? Am I crazy? Or is the goal of the military to have peace and not see active combat? I thought it was defense. Preferably a good defense means we don't gotta do killing stuff.
Maizelbub.
SMG Honey, thanks so much for going to Jupiter August. I appreciate that. There are many uncobbed today. We are marking our post subathon period of time, so we have to get those numbers back up.
is if you say you're going to have 1 million people that can be in the military, just to use that number. If you're going to just stock it with people for
Joe Aconite, thanks for the prime.
diversity's sake, you're going to want to stock it with the most people who are the most likely to innovate. Because obviously, you know, I'm less innovative than the woman that he mentioned who created that technology. But on average, I think that's what's important to look at. And if you look at virtually 95%, which is an actual figure, 95% of the innovation, both scientific and technological, that took place on this planet between, I think, 800 BC and 1950 AD was done by European men.
That's what I thought he'd say. Does that have anything to do with the institutional imperial power that those same men had during that period of time? Also, 800 to 1500, I do not feel as though Europe was the most technologically advanced place during the Dark Ages. It just doesn't seem true. Now, I've studied a bit of history. I don't feel like to 1950, nonetheless. Hey, Keg, thanks so much for the 19 months. I don't feel like this is true.
I don't know why that is.
That's not the relevance. The fact of the matter is that
no, it is.
Hold on, wait. Are you serious right now? You're actually just going to do it. I'm going to hang up and leave, okay? If you don't let me actually talk and respond to some of this bullshit.
Flamos, thanks again one to little stone daughter.
Almost done. I promise.
Why are you just talking? You think this is one of your videos right now? You've made like 50 claims. I'm not going to be able to respond to all of them. You're trying to gish gallop me, John. You're trying to gish gallop me. Yeah. You're so mad right now because you don't like the idea of having a conversation. You're used to just sitting down and saying, heck off, commie, LOL. You're breaking from your script. I know. You're really scared right now. So again, when
you're the one who's afraid to talk for 5 minutes.
I'm not afraid to talk for 5 minutes. I'm actually interested in talking to you, not just talking. Then you talk, then I talk.
A couple more little bullet points out here.
Bullet points? I bet they're literally bullet points. Did he quite literally just take notes for this and make bullet points? And he's just reading them?
How many bullet points are you going to give?
He's quite literally reading. You can see his eyes. Look, I think it's fine if you take notes and shit if you want to prep for a debate, but I think maybe when you prep for a debate, the other person should be prepping for that debate. If that's the kind of thing you want to have happen. It's wild, man.
Until I get to actually respond to.
This is how debates work, dude.
This is not how a debate works. This is not how a debate works, my dude. Why don't we actually talk? So the idea
that, like, oh, we have this one anecdote. We have this one anecdote of this woman who invented this particular piece of technology, this minority who invented this particular piece of technology. In a vacuum, if you were to keep pumping the military with, say, European men, which is traditionally the founding stock of our military.
The founding stock. I don't like the sound of that. I don't like the gist of the founding stock of the military's European men.
Military, eventually they would have come up with that technology. That's
eventually
just a fact.
That's a fucking terrible speculating onto the eventual successes of European men's maybe inventions is fucking crazy. What a terrible argument. That's so dog shit. Hunter's going to jump all over him, right?
Eventually they would have, because we can infer that from the fact that they
like that's such a fucking dog shit argument. That's the
dumb shit. Has anything to do with the fact that oftentimes like white people were dominating the country? So like, for example, you could say like, hey, black people didn't.
We're good at innovating stuff.
Well, no. You could say like, hey, how come black people didn't really present any good inventions during the time that they were enslaved or during the time that Jim Crow was in place? Like, I don't think it's fair for you to just say, well, look, Europeans did this, and that's just because they're European, LOL. That's not how this works. What it is that oftentimes Europeans held more power, and they were in a privileged position where they were able to innovate at faster rates, but it doesn't mean that that is intrinsic to the fact that they are, in fact, European. And again, I'm not.
Then, okay,
but you keep trying to call what I'm saying like an anecdote. That's an example of some things that. That's some of the things that women have contributed or gay people have contributed, sure. But it's not just that. Again, it's that by having diversity, you avoid this idea of groupthink. You break away from groupthink, and you are able to innovate faster. Why is it?
Groupthink is good.
But
John. Groupthink is good. Is a crazy thing to say. As a guy who'd like everybody to agree with him, naturally, I don't think that's a good thing. It is pretty not good.
Okay, no, it's
Okay,
not.
so
That
we're gonna go
literally
point by-
weakens the
Let's
military.
go point by point. No, it doesn't. Let's go
Yes, it does. What the fuck?
point by point then. I want to talk about the Europe versus
This is a great example of how this ruins the military. Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan.
Africa thing.
No, we're not going to talk.
Colonization, right?
This has nothing to do with the actual military thing. I know
It
that.
does.
No. I know you got to get back to
Explain
your
to me-
script. I understand that you have to get back to your script. Okay, but hold on. We're actually talking now.
Nobody
I'm sorry.
watching this actually thinks that your brain's operating at a higher level. I mean, I'm thinking.
I haven't been
faster.
able to
You
say a
literally
word, my
cannot
dude.
keep up with
You've
what I'm
literally been just talking
let's
nonstop,
go
and the
point by
non-biased
point.
mod isn't even helping at all. So this is exactly
Oh,
why,
I'm sorry,
by the way.
Hunter. I thought when I spoke earlier, I was being too biased. Okay, John, let's give Hunter a few minutes to say what he wants to say.
Okay.
I didn't want to appear too biased because
So let it be known that I
What a why? Who? I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but he's a little pussy too. What? Why is he like that? Why is he so fucking butt mad? What the fuck?
said that I was more than happy to debate John
Oh, okay. Like, relax, brother. Take a load off.
Doyle and
you did not. No, you
shut
said,
up,
"I will
Andrew.
never-"
So I
you
said that I
"You
was
shut
more
up.
than
This
happy.
is my show.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and mute. So I said that I was
That's
more than
great.
happy to debate John Doyle, for example, on Modern Day Debate. And, well, no, I said Modern Day Debate. And on Modern Day Debate, they reached out multiple times. John Doyle never responded. And I directly said, I'm not so sure I want to debate on your platform, Andrew, because I feel
You
like
said,
you're
"I'll
going to be
never
pretty...
debate John on my show." And I
And I said
haven't
because you were going to be
anything.
biased.
I can't have John on here. Isn't he banned on Twitch?
And you've now let
How am
John
I
go on
biased?
because you've let John ramble on for the last 10
And
minutes
when-
and
as
haven't
soon
let
as
me
you
get a single
complained-
word
and
in.
as soon as you complained, I said you can have the floor now, and John just agreed. So instead of complaining further, just say what you want to say.
Okay, so again, my claim is not that we need to impose diversity on the military. My claim is that by letting more people into the military
Yes.
of all different diverse backgrounds, you are benefiting innovation.
Yeah, that's the argument. Yeah.
And John, I know that you say like, that's not true, blah, 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 wah, wah. But you need to tell me then, how come we have found not one, not two, but multiple different studies that have all shown that when there is more diversity, the companies innovate at faster rates? Can you please answer why that is the case?
Is he just going to say the studies are lying? Let's find out.
Yeah, I actually do want to address the one study that you cited in particular,
The one
the
study.
murder mystery study, which you said was proof that diversity is good. On the surface, it's like murder mystery being equivalent to warfare. Okay. But you have to look at the difference between the two. I mean, you have something like a murder mystery, right? That's like a social deduction scenario. You have a finite pool from which to draw, and then maybe you can find who did it, so to speak.
And
versus
diversity
like
can help
literal,
that.
open, modern warfare. Right. So what I'm
It's not
familiar
all-
with in
it's-
terms of the literature.
it's not all modern warfare.
I know you have low impulse control, but you just have to stop, okay? You want to go back and forth, and we have to go back and forth. So in terms of the literature
I don't know. Like, is the same guy coaching the right-wing people? Or do they just naturally glom onto this sort of, like, indignation thing where they can't just relax? And they're always like, you're trying to curtail my freedom of speech. Like shit.
I think alludes to some of this, like corporate diversity being good, military diversity being good. Oftentimes what they find is exactly that perspective thing that you're talking about, where if you have a more diverse group of people, then they're better able to assess situations critically.
Right.
That's the problem. Because all of the literature that's supporting that claim, you have to be careful with what that is implicating, because they're not saying that they're actually better at producing the correct outcomes for situations. Literally what they are saying is they are better at critical thinking. Why is that?
They all go to personal insults, dude. Every time.
That is because when you have more people from different backgrounds, they are more likely.
And like not even relevant stuff. Not even like, You think this, that makes me think that you're stupid. Like, that'd be fine with me. It's always stuff. It's always like, you know, the fucking corn suit shit. It's like, ugh, please. I'd be fine if you're just like, I think you're a fucking idiot. Okay. That at least tracks. That's fine. That's part of the argument minimum.
To disagree on things, which they define
being mad, being irked about something else.
With that, because again, I want to get back to the Europe versus Africa thing, because you said that the reason Africa didn't have a competent military or innovation, so to speak, was because of European oppression.
I didn't say Africa. No, that's not what I said. I was just making a broad point about the European thing. But hold on, what you just said as far as they have. Well, hold on, wait. I just want to respond to what you said really quickly, because you didn't answer my question either. But first of all, when you have people, you just admitted it, that when you have people, you have a lot of different ideas. You have a finite pool of information to pull from, and that is a benefit of diversity. Second of all, the study that I just referenced to you was not actually the murder mystery one. I was bringing up a study which looked at different banks, and they found that innovation-focused banks increased, or innovation increased, in racial diversity, that was clearly related to an enhanced financial performance. So when you say they're not looking at the outcome, they are looking at the outcomes. The outcomes are specifically benefiting by having more diversity. Yeah. And this isn't just in private firms where this has been discovered. Even the military itself has found that when women are involved in complex problem solving, they solve problems at faster rates than groups that are just made up of men, for example. So what's wrong with this? Why don't we want our military to be strong and efficient?
It's a great question.
I would be curious to see the sample size from that one pertaining to women, because men are more rational than women. And
this is a lie.
I would imagine it's not a lie.
That's a lie. Yeah, it is.
It's absolutely not a lie.
No, it's a lie.
And
no, it's a lie. Yeah, I appreciate that.
There's even studies supporting that too.
No, there isn't. There's studies reporting the complete opposite. But I know that you kind of have to just make up stuff. But okay, go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, anyways. So it's like if you take a sample size of high IQ women and compare them to average IQ men, they're going to be better at solving those problems. But if I
he's just saying stuff.
Took 100 women off the street and 100 men off the street, I mean, you would be delusional to suggest that the women would be better at solving the problems than the men would.
He's just I appreciate some aspects of John Doyle in that he's just honestly a piece of shit all the time. Like, he's just very honestly like, hey, I'm a piece of shit. But also, he's coupling honestly being a piece of shit while also secretly being a piece of shit at the same time, because he just refuses to not lie about stuff. It's funny. Not only am I sexist, but I also don't know anything about stuff, and I lie about it. Pretty good. John Doyle is a unique guy that way.
I mean, this is just a fact.
No, not at all.
And so,
I mean, that's just a fact.
The social production, it is true, dude. Like,
it's not true.
I don't know if you're lying. I don't know like what kind of bubble you live in to actually believe this.
Like this is John again going with, I don't know. It feels like it. Feels like ladies are stupid. It feels like they are. Maybe conservative women. Maybe a sample of conservative women would critically think lower than just a bunch of guys off the street. Because a bunch of guys off the street probably has some lefties in there. Am I right? Am I right, chat? It's just us. We're the last ones.
It reminds me of the Trump tweet. Like, is this even possible to believe?
You haven't provided any evidence. You're just saying, like, obviously this is the case. I have evidence after evidence after evidence that shows that the Marine Corps, for example, found that including women resulted in just as good, if not better, cognitive performance with these challenging problems. I have information showing that when women are involved in high-firm companies, they perform better the more diversity is implemented in those companies. This is a clear evidence that women are not less rational than men. You're going to have some women that are less rational than men. You're also going to have some men that are less rational than women. They have done studies where they presented men and women with complex moral problems, and at the end of the day, men and women were just as rational. This is just a lie that you're saying right now.
Facts.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Okay, prove it, John.
There's a really good book that I don't think you'll read, but if anyone's interested, it's called The Rationality Quotient, and it's, you know, how to quantify actually thinking rationally.
Oops. Rationality quotient. The rationality quotient off of MIT Press. By Keith E. Stanovich. How to assess critical aspects of cognitive function are not measured by IQ tests, rational thinking skills. What? What? Smart people do foolish things all the time, misjudgments and bad decisions by highly skilled, educated bankers and money managers, for example, brought us the financial crisis of 2008. No, that was greed. Misjudgments and bad decisions. No, greed. But whatever. Smart people do foolish things because intelligence is not the same as the capacity for rational thinking. The rationality quotient explains these two traits, often and incorrectly, though thought of as one, refer to different cognitive functions as standard IQ tests. Okay. The authors argue in this and don't agree. This doesn't seem to have any, this doesn't seem to have, like, a strong take on the difference between the quotient? What, it says quotient right here. What? Quotient? The authors describe theoretical underpinnings of CART, comprehensive assessment of rational thinking, distinguish the algorithmic mind from the reflective mind. They discuss the logic of the tasks used. They don't seem to go through, like, okay, well, let's see what he says.
And they found, like, I think a 0.6.
He said quotient?
You know, how to quantify actually thinking rationally. And they found, like, I think a 0.6.
Oops.
It's a really good book that I don't think you'll read, but if anyone's interested, it's called The Rationality Quotient. And
oh, he really did, didn't he?
So, you know, how to quantify actually thinking rationally. Quotient. And they found, like, I think a 0.67 or 0.68 advantage in terms of rational thinking for men.
That's all we needed.
So again, I don't even think this is worth addressing. But again, what you're arguing, I'm frankly much less concerned about, like, all of the studies and things like that. I'm talking about, like, what we know about world history. What you are arguing is that all of the
yeah, you can't be as indignant as John and, like, cite a source with a typo.
For example, the Roman Empire would have been better if you would have had
unless you just humbly go, oh, I said that wrong,
more women involved or more gay people involved or things like that. And this is why I don't know why you are so like afraid of this comparison, but when you're talking about, like, you know, Africa was at a disadvantage versus Europe, well, why then was Europe able to come in and colonize Africa? If we were really at a level playing field, they have more natural resources than Europe. Why weren't they able to man the defenses? I understand that, but listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying that innovation is more likely to come from European men, as evidenced by literally 95% of all of it. You're saying no. I'm saying, okay, well, if that's not the case.
I mean, honestly, do you want to know the answer to the question? It's more of an evolutionary thing, in my opinion, and not in the way, like, social evolution. Like, there wasn't really, like, the selection pressure in the area of Africa in places like that that were colonized and you know, taken as slaves and stuff, to, like, create the, like, weaponry and stuff of war that the Europeans had, because Europeans had a more violent culture. You know, just inherently, you know how Europeans are. They innovated in ways that, you know, since they had feudal lords that caused people to wage war against one another constantly. You know. Yeah, from tech learned in China. Exactly, right? You know. Just how colonizers do. I wonder if a society that had no need for gunpowder, like, and that's not to say there was no violence in these places. Of course there was. But, like, I'm just saying.
Why was Africa not able to defend itself from European colonization?
These are completely unrelated. The European colonization had everything to do with advanced levels of technology, even different climates.
Where did that come from?
Hold on. Even different climates had an effect there. This idea of, well, Africa couldn't defend itself, therefore minorities are not good for innovation is irrelevant. This is one of the weakest arguments I've ever heard. We need to combine and look at how diversity interacts with the military and in actual companies.
Yeah, population density.
Because that's how the military is. You keep saying, well, what about the fighting field and this and the other thing?
I agree with that. The military is a company. Get that.
Well, no. It's not just the company, but it's a group where there is a large amount of people that are all working towards a common goal. And if you want to talk about, if you actually want to talk about world history, I mean, you can look at historical examples. Since the 1800s, for example, armies with high rates of inequality have done poorly, according to all kinds of measures. One statistical analysis focused on armies with high rates of inequality, and that they
Squidly, thanks for following.
found that increased the odds by 50% that an army will suffer more casualties than it inflicts on the other side. So that's some world history for you right there. When you are discriminatory, or when you don't properly include minorities into your group, you lack positive outcomes. You weaken the military. You weaken the morale. And again, I don't know why you keep going back to this Africa thing. At the end of the day, we have multiple different studies that have shown that when women and black people and minorities are included in these firms, they do better. You're just denying this. You're just denying it right now.
Okay, I have another question. Help me understand. If we know that if you have a
does anyone think John Doyle actually wants to understand? Me either.
group of like say 50 bland vanilla white men.
Oh, we're live right now.
Throwing black people and women. You're saying that that'll help that company do better, that military operation do better. Then why then, in the places in the world where we see the most black people or the most any sort of minority group, why then are they not doing as well as where we see the most groups of like white male dominated spheres?
What?
If
Sure,
that's the
I can
case.
answer that. Yeah, the answer to that is not that, oh, just because they're black, they somehow have a better idea, lol. What you're doing is stripping this of all nuance, and you're looking at this in one of the most delusionally reductionist ways imaginable. What it is not only diversity, it's how you properly implement that diversity. Obviously, just having a large group of black people is not going to necessarily lead to any better or worse outcome than having a large group of uneducated white people or something. That's not the key here. The key is that when you have a business or a company or something like the military, and they all have a common goal, implementing diversity in the proper way, mind you, leads to more innovation because you're pulling from a larger pool of information. There is more experience behind that. And then, like I've already demonstrated, that leads to higher rates of innovation. This benefits the military immensely. Like, I want to see the military get stronger. I want our country to be kept safe, and that's what the military does. And so it only makes sense to have a larger pool to gauge information from. That was your argument at the beginning of this.
Uh-oh.
Right. So, again, it's like even in recent history.
He keeps bringing up the colonization of Africa because he's racist bigot. Yeah. It's the same. It's just might makes right. It's not very, like, highbrow shit here. He just goes, we won the fight. That makes us correct. It's like, does it though? I disagree.
Our military hasn't been able
What happens
to do
when you lose the fight? Because America will lose a fight and has lost fights. So
really anything.
Vietnam is correct, by the way. That's why we're communists now. Vietnam won, and we're like, well, shit. Might makes right.
Quite effectively. I mean, we got embarrassed in Afghanistan. We were embarrassed in all of our campaigns in the Middle East. And now it's like I really kind of want you to just think.
Do you think Afghanistan and Iraq and Afghanistan? Do you think that was from a highly diverse trans army, or like was that maybe not like the troops' fault? Can we agree that maybe it was white men making bad decisions that lost us Vietnam and Afghanistan? And a couple black dudes for Afghanistan. Colin Powell was one of them. There we go. We did it.
Think about like what you're saying to me, which is that, you know, if we are to increase, like what experience do you think, if you just had to guess, maybe there's not a study, if you just had to guess, what experience do you think the average black guy has in terms of dealing with high-level military operations, small unit tactics, that the average white guy just like doesn't have? Like, what is that experience that you think he could really bring to the table there?
I don't think that anybody, white, black, gay, straight, women, whatever, have like some intrinsic understanding of the military.
What the fuck kind of question was that? It was so weird.
They would be trained.
Well, then why would you need them for military diversity
because
to make it better? That's
what? Because that's... Does John realize that the diversity of the people in the military is not like a prerequisite of their positive or negative impact to the military is not, in fact, prior knowledge of how the military works, right? Or any of the stuff in there. Did you know that people join the military to learn military things? Where'd you think you got that? Like, yeah, what the fuck? It doesn't make sense, man. I don't know why he can't think.
Because the essence of your argument.
No, I think that you're literally
seeing a lot of uncobbed in chat right now.
Thinking that my argument is like, just take a random woman off the street
uncobbed.
and plop her in the military, therefore military gets better. That is not what I'm saying.
According to your argument, that would increase innovation.
No.
Even
my
if only-
argument
even if
is
only
that
slightly. Yes.
my argument is that when you train, obviously to get somebody in the military, they're going to have to train to be in the military.
Right.
Obviously. I'm not talking about
Which
just
86% of women fail.
I'm not talking about just grabbing random people and then
Fair sex, thanks going to Azrael Hypo.
saying, oh, look, they're black, they must have better ideas. It's that, again, I've said this now 5 times, when you take a large group of people of different identities and they're all focused on a common goal, after all...
Any goal, not military-specific stuff. Any goal.
All going through the same training, mind you, to get to where they are in the military, or going through the same process to be hired in a hypothetical firm, then you will see higher rates of innovation. I'm not saying that some black person just has an intrinsic understanding of the military, but guess what? Neither do any white guys, okay? They all go through a proper training, and then once they do, when they're all put in a group where they have to have a common outcome or a common goal, we see the diversity and the different experiences and different backgrounds lead to less groupthink and more innovation.
I have a permanent, like, what the fuck face on right now, because of just, like, I'm looking at John reacting to this, and he just scoffed at Hunter when Hunter was like, white people don't have an innate understanding of the military. And he was like, really? Like, really? Like, is he going to say some more wacky shit? Probably.
And also, one more thing I really want to quickly address. You said, like, oh, we haven't really seen our military do anything recently, yada, yada, yada. I mean, you might be right. I don't know. You might be wrong. But at the end of the day, if you want to look at all of the different innovation that was contributed to our military during, say, World War II, for example, there was a multitude of benefits that were brought to our military from minority groups, whether they were black, women, or gay. So I don't think that you can necessarily just say that they must not have an understanding or they must have the understanding. It's obviously a common goal.
I mean, you say multitudes. There's so many examples. Give me one from World War II.
Sure. So Alan Turing, he was a crypto-analyst for the British
Turing
government during World War II.
He fucked up too. Hunter fucked up too. They're even. They're even. Uh-oh. Alan Turing, not turning. Rip.
He was also a gay man. His code-breaking skills played a pivotal role in intercepting coded German messages.
I cannot believe that John Doyle would set himself up for this. No, it's not Turing. Nope, still wrong. Alan Turing. The Turing test? Come on, guys. Alan Turing bike. Alan Country Tour.
I can give you another one. The multiplex telegram was used in World War II, was invented by a black man named Granville T. Woods. He also invented the first prototype of the gas mask. If you want another one, Heidi Lamar, she's a woman. She invented the frequency hopping communication system.
Is he going to say only because white people like let them or something?
Which now gives us Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth. These are all things that have benefited the military, that were brought to the military from diversity. So you need to tell me, why are you in favor of weakening the military just because you don't want there to be diversity? Can you explain that one to me, please?
I'm not even anti-diversity. I just fail to see the logic behind thinking that the less cohesive you make a group, the more likely it is to be able to successfully fulfill a task.
It doesn't matter whether or not you can intuit that, John. The fact remains, independent of how you feel about it, that diversity helps innovation. It just isn't. It's like it doesn't matter how you feel, John.
Which would require it to be cohesive.
I completely agree with you.
Like,
but what you're advocating for is a lesser cohesion.
So we've only got a few minutes left, so I want to John, you can respond to that and then wrap up your own points here, and then we'll go to Hunter. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a very busy studio. I'd love to have you both back, of course, if we can get an agreement for that.
Yeah, I don't want to end.
Just for thanks to 50 Bitties. I'm not against diversity. I just wonder how you'd ever think it's a good thing.
This already, man. We were just getting into a good combo.
Unfortunately, we do have another show coming up here. So, John, why don't we go to you first? For we can give you up to 5 minutes, and then Hunter, we can give you up to 5 minutes as well. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I guess I would just say that, you know, there's a reason when you're, as you would know, Andrew, there's a reason that when you get into the military, they haze you and they shave your head and they basically tell you that you're disposable. I mean, the whole idea psychologically, and again, only 10% are combat.
They haze you? Did he watch Full Metal Jacket and that's what he knows about the military? Is this John Doyle's entire fucking framing in the military? Is the film Full Metal Jacket? Motherfucker.
The whole idea psychologically is to remove any sort of identity you have and tell you that, like, you are a unit and you're going to make
Doc
die.
Gamble,
Like,
that's 50
fine.
Bitties.
And so this idea that, like, oh, well, this guy happened to like anal sex, and that's why he was able to create this piece of technology, and that made it better. It's like, you know, don't ask, don't tell. I'm not saying you need to kick people out of the military. I'm just saying that this effort to purposefully have diversity, which is what we have, is a waste of military resources. And diversity in general, I mean, I have yet to see any real evidence. I mean, I'm not familiar with the evidence that Hunter's presented. I'd like him to email it to me. But, you know, the most comprehensive study I think we have on diversity in terms of like ethnicity is, of course, the Putnam study from 2011. Famous social scientist from Harvard, and he found that as you increase ethnic diversity in a community, everything goes down. Political involvement, trust, everything goes down. The only thing that goes up when you increase diversity is the amount of people protesting and the amount of people watching TV. That's it. So I fail to see and I fail to conceptualize how, you know, the great militaries throughout the world would have been better if they simply had more people from different groups or more women or more gay people. That doesn't compute. And, you know, on paper, it sounds like it makes a lot of sense. But when we square that with what we know about how humans behave and interact with each other, I think it really doesn't make sense. And I think that's actually why he relies so heavily on papers and studies and things like that, because he doesn't seem to want to argue just from like his own logic. He wants to, again,
his own logic. But this isn't a thing you get to logic out. Like, you could be like, I guess I feel like it's going to be this way or that way. Let's see what it actually is. That's like the actually part is what's important. How is he like this?
Play the Pokemon card. I've got my EX card. It's peer reviewed, and it's like, my brother in Christ. You just can't really argue from within, from what you know. So
he's been working in my brother in Christ too much. It's cringe.
Charizard cards going for hundreds of thousands of dollars these days. I'd like to implore you guys to watch some Pawn Stars, maybe. Hunter, you got the floor for up to 5 minutes. Say whatever you want. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and just respond to all the really retarded things that John Doyle just said.
Oh, come on. Hunter, it was going so well. Why? Why is he like this? Why? Hunter.
So first and foremost, he complained last time in his video about a bunch of sexual assaults happening in the military, and he attributed that to gay people, when in fact the sexual assault rise in the military is actually a result of hazing. So oftentimes we see sexual assaults at skyrocketing rates because straight men will literally go and sexually abuse other men simply for the sake of hazing. This is a huge problem. You can read about it on army.com if you don't believe it. So very good argument, John. Not sure why you're in favor of more sexual assault. Second of all, Putnam study. Very funny that you referenced that one. The Putnam study was actually, the reason that they found that result was not because of diversity. It was rather because there were racist dipshits like you, John, who were angry that black people were there. So because there were racists, that negatively affected the cohesion, not having black people. In fact, there are way better studies which have shown that when you put white and black people together in the same community, white people tend to become less racist because they no longer perceive a threat by people that look different from them, okay? Second of all, when it comes to the military, minorities fare just as well in the military when the military emphasizes the...
I don't know what John's strategy here is to look indignant and just be like, yeah, whatever, buddy. That's the argument. Sheesh. This is not the most ideal John Doyle stance you could take.
The end goal of the mission.
If I'm a John Doyle fan, I'm mad about this
rather than getting hung up on unique individual traits. You talk about cohesion, I agree with you. A unit that is not cohesive will not function properly. But you are wrongly attributing this idea that having diversity is somehow going to harm cohesion. That's not true. Cohesion actually benefits when you accept more people because, again, you lower the perceived threat, and in turn, you then get a benefit, which is more innovation. So there have already been studies, for example, that have shown that when people are hung up on gender identity or sexual orientation, they actually destabilize their military rather than protecting their own capabilities.
By the way, that's what I felt was true. It's nice to be vindicated by looking at the truth and not just going with how I felt, even though I was right.
That harms the military at the end of the day. So again, not sure, John, why you're in favor of a weaker military. And lastly, you say, I'm just relying on studies, using them as Pokemon cards, yada, 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 this thing and the other thing, instead of feeling what's within. I'm sorry. I don't know why you seem to be operating on a very womanly kind of basis here, but in my mind, I like to put facts over feelings, okay? And right now, for someone like you, who
I don't like when I'm gonna say we. I don't like when we, although tentative we on Hunter. I don't like when that happens. I don't like when we devolve too much. Call him a pussy or something instead. I don't like throwing somebody else under the bus for the sake of it. You know what I mean? He's not doing an oops misogyny. He's trying to throw it back at John. But in the way, sometimes you do it to sass them, and sometimes you do it to try to get street cred with them, which I think is the wrong reason, and I think that was a street cred move.
Who unironically said that
right.
women are less rational. I'm not sure why you are now relying on your own feelings.
If he says it right after John Doyle says something about women or whatever, then it's more punchy, but then it just sounds bad.
To come to a conclusion when that's not how the world works. If we went ahead and went by your logic, we would all be here believing the world is flat. Now, I don't know what you believe. Maybe you do believe that. But for most rational people, we recognize that the world is actually round, even though we've never seen the round Earth. We don't gauge within our own logic and our own little feelings. We look at studies and data. And when you look at a multitude of studies, I'm not just pulling one fucking study out of my ass here. We have a plethora of different data points, all showing that diversity integrated into companies betters the company. Diversity integrated in the military betters the military. The reason our military is the strongest and most successful military in the entire world is largely attributable to diversity.
All right, thank you, voice. Thank you both, boys, for coming on.
Andrew,
hold on.
Give me 30
I will give you that 30 seconds in a moment. Thank you guys for coming on. If you guys want to come back on in June, we can get you back on for a more structured debate with more particular questions for you both to respond to. Hunter Avallone's YouTube channel and Instagram and Twitter. You can find him on his own name, I believe, Avallone, and on his Discord, John Doyle, of course, Heck Off Comedy on YouTube. He's also often on Blaze TV, Slightly Offensive, and all those wonderful shows. John Doyle, you were called a racist, so you want to get 30 seconds for that?
Do I get 30 seconds to respond from there?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm actually the least racist person. But in our
least racist.
Our follow-up debate, in the meantime, I would be curious, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to send me all the information which he was citing. And I can assure you that in the first part of our debate, if I'm allowed to speak uninterrupted, I will refute one by one every single study he cites because it's wrong. And I don't know the studies because I don't really keep up with that kind of stuff, but I know they're wrong. And you can
I know they're wrong.
Laugh, don't believe me, but just at least remember that I said it because that's what will happen. I'll prove to you that they're all incorrect. In terms of the Putnam study rebuttal, he pronounced the name wrong of the author, but claims to know like the ins and outs of it.
Come on, John. You can't. You can't say stuff. Again, this is why he doesn't get to say stuff wrong ever. You can't do that if you're going to do it yourself. Quotient. Come on.
It wasn't actually racist white people because they didn't trust each other either. If you read the study, you would know that trust as a general, as an aggregate, went down. So if that what you're saying was the case, measuring trust is just like that, it'd be like, oh, white people mad at black people. But white people didn't trust each other anyways.
John felt very insecure about how that ended because Hunter got the last word.
right.
Also, in terms of
John, I
diversity,
gotta
I
cut
don't want
you
to
off.
take anybody out. They're lowering the bar to allow these people into the military. That's my problem.
This guy is a huge pussy.
Hunter, 30 seconds, really tight.
So
Tighten
first
it
and
up.
foremost, again, we're seeing John relying heavily on his fifis. I don't know if maybe he's still a snowflake in need of a safe space here, but again,
You gotta leave
I
2016.
don't. No, I'm staying in 2016 because they seem to be bothering you, and I think that's very funny. So again, I rely on the data. John relies on his feelings, as demonstrated by him saying he's never read the studies, but I'm sure they're all just wrong. LOL. Second of all, I don't care if I pronounced the author's name incorrectly. The reason the trust was lower was because there was a higher rate of racism. Racists are scared of black people, and if they act racist, that lowers the trust that black people have in the general community as well. This is why we have
Okay.
seen that accepting all identities benefits cohesion when it's implemented properly.
Okay, back to me. Thank you both. Hunter, you going to come back for a debate with John Doyle?
Yeah, maybe. But
Yeah,
I never
you
got
gotta-
it. I never
maybe.
got an opening statement either, so it's a little sad.
You'll get a big opening statement next time. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you
Guy
both
out
for
of
coming on.
2016
I
says John Doyle. Anyway, let me tell you about how women and feminism are literally ruining the world. I know, right?
appreciate you both. It's hard to get people to come together and talk like this. Thank you guys.
Do you know why it's hard to get people to come together and talk like this? Right-wingers are fucking pussies, dude. Big time. I mean, it's just true. They're huge fucking cowards. You kidding me? Try to get one of them into an unmoderated fucking normal conversation debate. Not only can they not just talk to a person without foaming, they never show up to those. Like, the only way they show up to those is if someone's, like, Vosh gets people like that because he's massive, right? Hassan would if he opened up his things, too. Ridiculous. $100. Hunter got blocked by Doyle after this. Did he? Oh, no. Well, I thought you were saying he did. No. He's banned on Twitch and stuff. Last couple seconds. It was probably nothing. We'll see what Hunter has to say.
Well, that went well. And now I have a bunch of fucking copers in my in my chat. All right, John Doyle Simps. I see you all. Okay. Don't forget to hit that subscribe.
Anyway, that's the John Doyle fucking Hunter debate. It was not. It was that's not how we want that to be. if we're John Doyle fans, right? Like that didn't go the way we thought it was gonna go, right?
Neuro.
God damn it! All right, we're gonna watch this one next, but jeez. Part of me's glad that John is banned off Twitter, so I don't have to see him anymore. But like,
Medical staff.
also, he's so fun to pick on. He's just a dummy.